Hey everyone, how are you doing? News this week, Sean Gordon Murphy is leaving Twitter. And perhaps this is for the better of his career. So here is what he had to say. After talking with my wife, my assistant, and my bat team, I've decided to delete my Twitter account after the plot hole campaign ends later tonight. So strictly going to be using his Twitter to just promote his campaign and then close it out. If you're looking for updates, please follow my assistant's account, Sean Murphy Art. It's a business account that covers cons, art sales, retweets my friends, and other announcements. And then he does a few updates on his projects and of course his Indiegogo. He says he'll be spending more time on his Instagram, so you can follow him there. And then he finishes off with, lastly, I'd like to thank my Twitter followers for the great discussions and threads we've had over the years. You guys are awesome. I love meeting you at shows, and I hope you'll continue to support White Knight as we continue to expand over the next few years. My career has exploded with Batman, and it's taking some adjusting. My new role at DC is to protect what I've built with my team on White Knight. Our goal is to generate great content and big sales, and my involvement in Twitter no longer seems necessary to achieve that. Now, I think that alone says a lot. Protecting what he's built up at DC. There are some on Twitter who have threatened to essentially destroy his career. Of course, we know the great sin of doing a cover for a comic creator who is Christian. That's a no-no, according to people on Twitter who had a huge problem with this and basically tried to ruin Sean Gordon Murphy for associating himself with Doug TenNapel. And he apologized, actually, for even doing the cover, saying that he pulled it. But then apparently, he did another sinful deed by making an Indiegogo campaign, which a lot of people on Twitter have been associating Indiegogo with only Comicsgate groups. Kickstarter is for the good people. Indiegogo is only for Comicsgaters. So we have Joe Glass here saying, so big name comic creator is launching his Indiegogo campaign to attract the CG masses this week, huh? A lot of people chimed in on that. And then he also made tweets regarding the protests, saying that he wanted the rioting and looting to end, and some people on Twitter saw that as him not supporting Black Lives Matter and therefore he's racist. And then of course more recently Mags Visaggio accusing him of the great crime of being nice to her. Just, icing on the cake. But overall, throughout the history of Sean Gordon Murphy being on Twitter, you've noticed this trend of people going after him constantly and trying to ruin his career based on things that he's tweeted. So maybe he did have a discussion with his Bat team at DC, talking about how these people have been constantly going after him. Maybe the agreement that they reached was, hey, stay off of Twitter, and then maybe they'll just leave you alone. If you're not on Twitter, they can't at you. Maybe they'll just forget you even exist. And you will also be saying less things publicly, so less of your words will be taken out of context and twisted to mean something else. Maybe that's also part of the reason. But it's also possible that Sean Gordon Murphy is leaving Twitter for himself as well, to stay away from these twisted types of people who want to ruin his career by spreading these rumors and taking what he says out of context. There have been a lot of people who have been leaving Twitter in order to keep themselves sane, to keep themselves away from the craziness that happens on Twitter, primarily stuff such as cancel culture, spreading rumors about people and trying to ruin their career, while also staying away from the negativity that sparks discussions on Twitter. We know a lot of prominent figures who have left Twitter. Of course, there's your boy Zach, he left. There's also PewDiePie, who left and also made a whole video, a whole psychology video about how people on Twitter will act maliciously in order to virtue signal themselves. Now, Appa Bend recently, if you don't follow him, I'd recommend his channel. Very good videos. He recently made a video about Twitter and why it's as crazy as it is. I found it to be very interesting. He explains that Twitter rewards people for being more active. So the more you tweet, the more people are going to see your tweets, the more interaction you're going to be getting on the platform. But there's a lot of people who don't really interact with Twitter that much. Some people just check their DMs. Some people post like one tweet every week or so. A lot of us are usually never on there. The people who are tweeting the most, the people who are getting the most activity, the most retweets, the most likes, are usually social media addicts. People who specifically crave that attention and that interaction. And those types of people usually have some personal issues. That's not to say everyone, but there is a trend, there is a reasoning behind why you are addicted to social media. So it's usually social media addicts who are the voices that are the loudest on Twitter and who get all the retweets, all the likes. So it seems like their opinions are always the ones that are most popular or that matter more. But in actuality, that does not reflect the real opinions of people. It's just that those opinions are louder than everyone else's. So although it might be very popular on Twitter to want to cancel a TV show or a movie or a comic, the majority of people in the real world might not feel that way. They might not agree with these people on Twitter, but their voices are not the ones being heard, because they're not interacting the most with Twitter. Now, obviously, with the trend of people leaving Twitter, that's also contributing to their voices being the loudest. People not chiming in to these types of discussions will contribute to those voices being the loudest. But there's also a certain amount of understanding that you need to take into consideration. It's not everyone's job to shut down crazy people. Some people need to focus on themselves, their own careers, their own lives, and their own happiness. I don't think that anyone should be silenced and pushed off a platform, but I understand why it happens. It's also part of the reason why I try to shy away from politics specifically. I don't talk about current events or anything like that, or at least I try not to. And that's also for my own sanity, my own comfort. I don't want people to go after me or try to silence me for my beliefs, so I just silence myself. I don't consider myself an activist. I just want to focus on my own career. But just having your beliefs known publicly can make other people believe that you are an activist, and they'll treat you as an activist. And in some cases, like with Sean Gordon Murphy, they'll take even associating yourself with people who have their beliefs known publicly. They'll take even that to be political. All of a sudden, you're an activist. All of a sudden, they're gonna go after you as if you're an activist. You're on the wrong side of history. Yada yada yada. It's tiring. Nobody wants to put up with it, and I don't blame them. So I think all of this contributes to Sean Gordon Murphy choosing to leave Twitter. Instagram will probably be a better place for him, you know, posting art, posting pictures of him and his books, promoting it and whatnots. I think it's a lot harder to get canceled on Instagram, but I don't know, I could be wrong, I guess. It is funny that this is happening around the same time as the Twitter hacks happened. I don't know if you heard about that in the news, but apparently this week a bunch of main verified accounts got hacked on Twitter, and they were all posting saying, oh, if you send me 1,000 on Bitcoin, I'll send you 2,000 back. Like literally a RuneScape scam. And of course, you know, people were looking at that and being like, what? What are you talking about? Where's this coming from, Kanye? But there were some people falling for it and sending money because it was coming from verified accounts, and they thought, oh, well, this must be really them speaking. But no, it was a hacker, a very rich hacker now. So Twitter responded to that by having verified accounts not be able to tweet for a while. I don't know how long that's gonna last, but that sounds interesting. I guess more reason to want to leave Twitter, right? It's like, holy shit, you don't even have your security worked out very well. Anyway, I want to know your thoughts about all of this madness with whether or not people should stay on, leave Twitter, what you think about Sean Gordon Murphy exiting. Do you think he's making the right decision? Do you think that these campaigns against him have contributed to that decision to leave? I think that's the main reason, honestly. Any and all thoughts you have, let me know down below in the comments section. As usual, remember to like that video, and I'll see you next time, guys.